Clash Royale.
Welcome back, everybody, to the SPL here. The grand postseason is ongoing. We're all tied up at 1-1 here between Afreeca and SK Telecom.
That's right, Valdez. And now we're going into INnoVation versus Patience on King Sejong Station. Now, if you are an SKT fan, these next 3 matches are the ones you're looking at because they could just win the next 3 in a row and close it out. And I think that they're really favored in those. Bomber versus Dream is something to look at because I think most people would still favor Dream here, but Dream has been having a little bit shaky TVT. Bomber, you know, on the other hand, has a lot to play for here. And also, if Alive beats Dark again with another upset on Frozen Temple, I mean, Afreeca could still take this, but these next 3 matches are going to be the hardest ones for the Freaks, and a win in any of them is huge.
Especially that Sue versus Symbol game. We haven't seen Symbol in so long. I don't even remember the last time we saw him come out here.
I don't either, man. I don't even know if you played this season.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But guys, we are going to jump into INnoVation versus Patience first. You can see that versus Protoss is actually INnoVation's worst matchup here in Pro League.
Yeah, INnoVation not having the best year. I mean, 10-5 is still pretty damn good when it comes to Pro League. But, you know, the last part of round 3 and both individual leagues, he's been having a little bit of a tougher time than normal, not as dominant. And is the trend with SKT right now. Still the favorites here. And you can see Patience looks very happy. This is the craziest part of the stats, though.
Yeah.
Patience is actually 4-0 versus INnoVation. I didn't know that myself. So that's pretty epic. And here we go. Let's see 7-0, just as expected.
Yeah, I wonder when those games were from, too, because they're not here on our sheet for this season. So perhaps they were in a, you know, an individual league, or maybe they were last year. I'm not 100% sure. But that should at least give a bit of confidence to Patience. Let's see how it's going to go down now on King Sejong Station for game number 3. Down here in the bottom right, in the orange for SK Telecom T1, it is INnoVation.
And his opponent in purple cross map, it is Patience. The ex-Dead Pixels player now back to a Kespa team. And he finds himself against one of the greats on SKT in INnoVation here. He does have that 4-0 record. But those games must be dated, or either that or very recent when SKT has been having some trouble.
Well, it's not on our sheet here for round 3. These 2 players did not play up against each other. Patience did defeat Classic and Dark in that one series that they had where he came out in the ace match and defeated Dark there. But
yeah, I'm just looking at all 3 times they faced each other this year in regular season, and they did not face each other even one time, so must be from previous seasons.
Exactly.
Or from individual leagues. But we're talking about best of ones here in Pro League.
Totally different situation. I mean, we're out here on a 2-player map. Patience's probe is already going in a weird location, and I mean, what better way to get under INnoVation's skin than a proxy Oracle? We've been seeing this actually resurge here in Korea. Lots of Protosses loving to do this against Turn. You just put it right there, right next to his base. That's the way this map was designed. And we'll see if it does get some damage done.
This is what you and I always say when it comes to INnoVation, is kind of getting into the program that is this player. You know, he plays often like a robot. He figures out the most standard way to play the game, the most standard builds, and then oftentimes he'll do them better than everybody else.
Yeah.
But if you mess with his build, then his, you know, it's not that he's bad at defending, but if you mess with his build, he can't obviously execute everything perfectly like he planned. And this is one way to defeat this amazing macro Terran. And it looks like we're going to see the CC get dropped down here. The Zealot is going across the map, by the way.
Oh, he pulls it back. He knows immediately something's up. Starts a Widow Mine and a Starport right away. And that's very smart. I mean, he sent that scout over, got a full scout of the base. He also saw the Zealot, and he's like, okay, this is weird. And I think he's got a great idea of what's going on now.
He's just going to make a bunker here, and looks like he may lose that SCV if he doesn't halt command correctly. There's a mothership core coming across the map, so this could get really nasty really fast, as that pylon at the ramp potential is quite strong. The first turret will not be ready in time, but it will be ready shortly afterwards if you can just buy some time. This is going to be really intense. Like, you know, the defense of INnoVation is going to be heavily tested right now.
That missile turret is coming up, but he has no other defense in the main, and it is not yet ready. He's repositioning that Widow Mine, but it's not back at his mineral line.
Looks like that turret, I mean, he made it instantly. It's just barely going to be ready before the Oracle gets here, but still can get a few kills here. Only gets one. And perhaps the Oracle Micro of Patience and Super is somewhat related here. What happened to the probe also? Looks like he may have lost that, so he can't pile on the ramp anymore, and this build ends up being a disaster.
Yeah, fantastic response out of INnoVation. You know, Patience, he was essentially just doing the build, but it's really the response and defense by INnoVation that's impressive here.
INnoVation is going to counter drop. If this Oracle is not ready, he's going to take serious damage because he has no detection for these two Widow Mines. He can block the Nexus as well, which he will do.
Let's see how long he does this for. He's gonna...
He can actually block... Oh, well, it's probably not the best choice to block that with a Widow Mine. Wants to go for damage instead, but could have tried to be annoying with that. And there's pylons in place.
Immediately drops it out. It gets focused down, picks up the other one. Can focus that now with the Oracle, and this is going to get completely shut down.
Yeah, very
nice response by Patience to make Phoenixes right after.
If the Widow Mines get burrowed, they're so terrifying because there's no detection, but if he just focuses them down so carefully before that can happen, then it's no problem at all. We do see that he's making another Phoenix out of this Stargate, while we do have the Widow Mine behind the Vespine refinery there, looking to trap these Stargate units because it's hidden at an angle in the 3D in the way that the StarCraft 2 client works. You can't see it. And now goes the SCV dead there. I meant to say down goes, not now goes, but
now goes,
you guys know what I mean. He goes dead.
He gets a nice scout there as well. He can swoop in and deny, or rather delay, that CC from being built. Of course, Patience did scout this Nexus coming up. He knows his CC is behind, but he's still doing a very good job of defending here. And I'm sure INnoVation, you were talking about how if you don't really get into his head, if you don't mess up his build in some way, he's one of the best at macro games and straight up mechanical victories. And I'm sure he's going to be happy just like surviving here and eventually getting up to 2 and 3 bases against this Protoss.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be the game he wanted to play, but I think you're absolutely right because now he's stabilized and you know, he put the oil in the robots, creeks, and now he's going. Looks like this drop just barely escapes detection. He was looking for it, and that's huge because this drop can do a lot now. Who even checks to see if he's being followed? Such a sick move. And now he's going to go hit this third base, try to perhaps force a cancel. There's not very many units on the map for Patience. The second drop is coming across here. This one will be caught, I believe. Yes, it will.
He used to drop out right away. He already used the boost.
And look at that. The Oracle's just waiting to kill the Marines one by one.
You know, you have to be extremely careful when there's this many Phoenixes on the map of where you're sending your drops. And INnoVation just flew it over an Adept into Phoenixes.
If he responds quickly, this shouldn't do much, but he's not responding as quick as he did the last time. And one shot will go off. 6 probes dead in total.
Where's the detection? He has to come back with that Oracle. This medevac kind of gets trapped here, in fact, and it will go down. So even though he does lose 6 probes, he has a third base coming up. Let me actually check and make sure that INnoVation scouted that. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he flew over it. He decided to go for probe kills instead of doing a double drop at the third. I think that... Oh, that was a close call. If you go for the double drop at the third, you might be able to force a cancel, especially because it was very early on in its build time. You know, with like, say, almost 16 Marines, 14 Marines, the Widow Mines come down. And if the Phoenixes come over, the Widow Mines defend your Marines, and there's only a few units. I mean, there wasn't even this many units when he had come across. He went for direct probe damage instead, and good defense from Patience. So No, he's keeping himself really up in the macro right now with that third next. He now has triple probe production, and INnoVation hasn't even started a third CC. That's maybe another one of those games where we see the main lifted to the third. Very common right now, which is one of the reasons I feel Dark Shrines are so common in this matchup, because you don't have as many scads with only 2 orbitals.
Yeah, it's quite nice, and Hallucination does scout the drops getting ready there as these infantry upgrades are lining up for INnoVation. Just finishing Stim and Combat Shields +1. Attack is on the way here. This Viking is going to be isolated and take it out.
I think a Widowmine was nearby. I'm not entirely sure where it was. I think it was like Korean commentators were freaking out about. This double drop will get scouted by a Zealot, and he's going to have enough time to get his units in position. And in 3 seconds, Glaives are done, and +1 is not far behind. This is going to be a tough drop to really find damage with. Force fields can go down here too. And he can't just lift up because there are Phoenixes. INnoVation in a risky spot here.
Really nice tag too. He gets everything there, and INnoVation now on the run. It looks like Patience going to let him go. And so INnoVation wants to threaten at the same time as sending a drop here. 2 Marauders and 2 Widowmines in one of those medevacs.
Very impressed with how much INnoVation has been able to try to do here, despite the fact that there's Phoenixes on the map. He's going for these greedy drops, as you mentioned, but he finds another window here with the ground-based pressure. Phoenix is coming in, but the units are already in position, and the Widowmines were burrowed there. So he's finding probe damage. Meanwhile, at the other side of the map, Patience is pushing INnoVation's army back. He saves most of it.
The probes being pulled here, trying to defend this, and he just barely does. Is going to lose 7 of his probes there. Kind of hurting that probe count, goes down to 52. But he is going to hold on, try to remake a cannon there once he gets that pylon up and ready. And we are going to go into a bit of a longer one here.
Definitely so. INnoVation making the CC, not lifting it, so he will have 3 CCs here shortly. Robotics Bay coming up. Now, Patience did kill a lot of the Vikings. I think INnoVation kind of kept making 1 or 2 at a time to kind of help stave off the Phoenixes, but he's been eliminating those. I don't think there are any left. Oh boy. This is a terrible time to drop mules. Gets 1 of the 2.
He was trying to knock the Phoenixes out of the air with his mules. It didn't quite work out.
So I'm fairly confident this will be Colossi and not Disruptors coming out here.
Yeah, I tend to agree. You don't see too much Disruptor play against Terran nowadays as the Protoss player.
He's moving across the map with his ground army too. You got the +1 attack. His +2 is not ready yet. This Observer is going to scout this army over here. A tough fight to take, I'd say, especially with the Phoenix damage he sustained early. He doesn't have a lot of anti-air for these Liberators. Blinks kind of to the side there. I don't think he can try to fight up this ramp, but INnoVation counter-wise is going to be hard-pressed to move down the ramp, and they're going to be like a little bit stalemated here at this location.
Oh, look at those force fields. Going to pick off some units. Is forced to back off because of the Liberators, though.
Yeah, and this ratio of Stalker Adept is so important. He makes a few more Stalkers here, trying to make sure he has enough anti-air to pick off those Liberators.
Thermal Lance does finish here. Did he cancel the Robo? I swear that was about to finish up the second one there.
Unless it's a third one, I guess so.
It's not a third one, I just checked. He's only got 1. Okay. Kind of interesting.
Maybe he just wanted another warp in desperately. Not entirely sure. I didn't catch it on the production tab, but
kind of interesting. Either way, he is going to start making 1 Colossus at a time.
Oh, this is a sick warping of Stalkers here. Still going to commit to it though, and it's not enough. And this is the kind of horseshoe effect I'm talking about. Look at the main army, how far it has to travel.
Oh boy.
He doesn't have the Mothership Core with it, so it can't recall. He needs to try to buy time, but meanwhile, his third base is getting ripped to shreds right now. Already 12 probes dead.
Oh man, this is doing so much damage. He even unpowers that robotics and is looking to focus it down here. Finally, this small drop that killed 15 probes is going to go down. But he's taking a lot of damage in the main, kills that robotics facility.
Yep, and that's going to cut the Colossus production in half. And he's not done yet. I mean, he still has 1 Widowmine here as well. The probes are now in that liberation zone.
He's got great position there on his Liberators in this fight. So even though you see the blink underneath and the Widowmine's trigger, he's eventually going to take out these units, but he's going to lose so many of his own in the process.
Yeah. 1 more depth gets taken out. The ground army over here hasn't been dealt with, and the big main army is about to break these rocks down and hit the natural. Patience really may be at his end here because he just doesn't have an army large enough to defend what INnoVation is throwing at him. INnoVation has 1-1 to his +2 attack. He doesn't have any armor. Look at this Widowmine field.
And look at this multitasking, too, out of INnoVation. He's hitting 3 locations at once. His control with the Liberators is fantastic. The Widowmines are all burrowing here. GG, that's going to be it. He didn't even want to fight those Widowmines and the Liberators. INnoVation going to take the win here. And what looked like a close game until he really turned it on.
Very impressive play there from INnoVation. Struggling to find damage with his first drops, but after that, being kind of risky with his drops considering there are Phoenixes on the map, but he knew that he had to take risks like that in order to get a stable advantage and take a third base, keep Patience on the defensive. And that was what Patience wanted, to hit that third base so hard so many times, but he was so struggling to deal with the drops INnoVation was sending at him that he just simply couldn't be as aggressive as he liked to. So INnoVation does take the match everyone expected, and we'll see if star players Dark and Sue can follow it up here, or if Symbol or Alive can break the streak.
I think it's really going to be up to Alive here. He has to win again against Dark, but that is so hard to do, man. Alive, he's been looking better and better, and even though Dark did drop out of the GSL, he is still the ace player right now for the Afreeca, for SK Telecom T1, and definitely an extremely hard opponent to face off against.
INnoVation, like Maru, is one of these beasts in Pro League. Amazing at these best of ones. An amazing Terran who has been for several years, just won several championships as well here in Korea. You know, he, I feel, along with SKT, had a little bit of a struggle there at the end of round 3, but they look back to good form tonight. And I think that their frustrations and what happened there at the end of the third round, I think motivated them to step it up here, especially against Afreeca. Losing to Afreeca would be a big upset, and it would just kind of further that scary feeling of, oh my god, is SKT losing their mojo here? You know, what's going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're doing well so far, at least after that first game. That Classic did drop to Curious, but are they going to be able to actually take them out here in a 4-1, as you guys actually see a random person jump into our camera? It happens from time to time, the random floating heads. Oh, there's another one.
I see our AD is like trying to...
he's like scrambling around. He's like, guys. Duty.
It's like, hey, I know this is a little lull here and people got to go to the bathroom, but can you guys just not walk through the camera, please?
Oh, he is on like full-time duty. There's like 3 or 4 people walking by. He's like, hey, 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 get down.
He's on point,
gotta be careful. That mobile strike ad comes on. He's like, oh, they're dropping bombs. You gotta get down, guys.
He's being careful. The next map, by the way, is going to be Frozen Temple, so a map that I think Alive was well chosen for here. Probably hoping to face a Protoss, but even against a Zerg, I think Alive has really stepped it up in recent times. I'm getting more and more like tilted as people walk in the camera. The guy's trying to save him.
The AD is getting more tilted than us, man.
Well,
he is.
It was funny because like a little kid ran by and he ran up to stop the kid. He was like, "Okay, the kid's too short."
Yeah.
So then
and then someone else.
Yeah.
It was the distraction for the other guy who came in. You saw the corner of his head.
Right. Yeah. It's exactly what happened. So.
Yeah, I mean, but to go off of what you're saying again, you know, you probably wanted to face a Protoss on here, but I love the fact that they send out Dark because they know that a Terran is going to come out. It's a great Terran map. They're like, okay, we just send out Dark. Some of his macro games that we've seen against both TY and I'm losing it right now. The Terran that he played against on Friday as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
For some reason
I can't do it. So. Anyway,
happens from time to time.
He's shown incredible ZBT recently, so I mean, that was kind of what he was banking on getting out of the group for. Beyond and Cure, those are the two Terrans out in that GSL group. So versus Cure, he wrecked him, but then we went into that winners match where Beyond just showed incredible play, and still I feel like Dark ZBT was really good. Beyond was just better, man, and he's so on fire right now.
Yeah.
But when you look at things, I gotta say, I do really favor Dark. Like, you practiced so much for those matchups in GSL. You lost to Beyond on a much higher level than Alive right now. And luckily for Dark, he doesn't have to play a ZVP because that's been an issue for him. We weren't going to see a Protoss on this map from the Freaks anyway.